أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. Last time, just to recapitulate, I'm giving showing you the last slide where we left the discussion that I have identified, maybe you identify more, that these are some of the basic crimes or lapses which, if done on this earth by the people, they will be taken into account if they skip any accounting during their life on this earth. And maybe in many cases, they may also face this accountability, not only on the earth, on the planet, but also in the hereafter. These were zulm, tughyan, like frown, happening in Gaza, then tabzir, ifsad. We have discussed this a little bit, and udwan. These are some of these very important items on which Yawmuddin will be established. The law of the day will decide, and that is the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will decide. Now, these laws have been notified. The deen means code, law. These laws have been notified and they have been implemented with time as the human society progressed. These have been notified, not only notified, but they have been explained. And not only explained, but they have been modeled. Prophets all along model a model of life, how to form a family, how to live in a society, how to make a civilized society, how to make an ummatan wusatan. These have been notified, explained, and even modeled. So it is on the basis of these laws, which laws were applicable in that period of time, is emphasizing that period of time. On the basis of those, the accountability will take place. Clear orders, this Surah Fatiha shows, have been given not to transgress. How not to transgress? When one is walking on a Surat Al-Mustaqim, Ehdina Surat Al-Mustaqim, this is the only line, the only shortest line between 2 points, the only straight line, the only way prescribed by God. So any deviation is transgression, is deviation. The transgression, one would say that entering into somebody's property, for example. But here, since the way of life has been prescribed on a path, on a way, on a straight line, so any deviation here, the appropriate translation, better translation, nearest translation could be the deviation. So not to transgress means not to deviate at any plane of activity. This Ehdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, on that line, shows that one has to be on the line and one has not to deviate. One has to make sure that one doesn't deviate in any plane of activity, whether he is individual, she is individual, or it is a group, it is a society, it is a family. At all levels, one has to remain in that plane, in that lane. When you are traveling from Houston to New York, Houston to San Antonio, always you have to follow the lane. You have to remain in the lane. If you lose the direction, if you leave the lane, go astray, then you will not reach the place of destination. So it's not that you have only individual, but when you are in a group, when you are moving, you can deviate, or in a family, you can deviate. So you have to remain, we have to remain on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And not only this, but the most important thing is that Quran has been explained in an environment. Quran has been explained in an atmosphere. Quran has been explained along with the natural phenomena. Law and don't break those laws. Don't deviate from those laws. Keep a balance. Keep a mizan. Social laws in Quran have not been mentioned in a separate class of sociology, civics, geography. They have been explained. Instructions have been given to Musa alayhi salam in the mountains. Prophet, peace be upon him, got the instructions in the battlefield, in the real life situation, in the desert, in the gardens, on the rivers, on the oceans. They have, and while talking about these natural phenomena, for example, ecological or environmental issues, while discussing these have been correlated with Surat Al-Mustaqim. So what does that mean? That any deviation from the Surat Al-Mustaqim, which covers the entire sphere of activities and natural phenomena in which man is working, unnecessarily, for example, one hurts the tree, unnecessarily one plucks the flower, unnecessarily one kills the life, something, any animal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. Don't kill illa bil haq, and except when you are in dire need, you are hungry. The dietary discipline has been laid down. So even in the individual sense, in the collective sense, in the ecological sense, in the global sense, in the environmental sense, the Sirat al-Mustaqim has to be followed. It requires exploration. Why exploration? Look at the sky, look at the heavens, look at the oceans, look at the seas. Why invitation all the time? Well, Fajr Khan Mashuda, come out of your hujra, come out of hijr. Use the resources of space, use the resources of moon, use the resources of earth, use the resources of stars. Look at them, explore them, find them, use them. That is why Adam was created. Other animals were there, but they had no capacity to utilize them, use them, benefit from them. This is the very purpose, the management of the planet and exploration of the space, exploration of the universe, and everything has been made musakhar. And wherever you reach, wherever you find anything of your benefit, manage it, maintain it. But destruction is not allowed. There is account for that. Accounting will have to be, accountability will have to take place. For example, this ayat, Surah Ar-Rahman, ayat 9. Keep the balance. Then again, not one, many, this just one. Different translations. Actually, the stakeholders. Who is the stakeholder in the universe? Everything is a stakeholder. One may stretch the philosophy, taking to even the electron and subparticle, not the animal world, that here the stakeholder in the sense of management of these resources, exploration of these resources, management of these resources, utilization of these resources, putting them to the benefit of mankind. Who is the stakeholder? Human being is the stakeholder. And since human being, we have discussed, because of the moral evolution, morality requires responsibility. So in this field also, the stakeholders have the responsibility. Human being has the responsibility, who are asked to walk on the straight path. And they were made aware It's not that all of a sudden Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that tomorrow I'm holding a day of judgment and I'll take you to account according to my law. Before that, it was made well known through the revelation, all along through so many prophets explaining and modeling it in their practical life, sunnah. And along with this revelation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained that I have given you faculties of reasoning, fikr, aql, tadabbur, tazakkar, zikr. I have given you these faculties. And they are further supported by senses, 5 senses. Sama, basar. You can process the information through fuad. The information input is being taken not only through these 5 physical senses, but there is, has been recognized as 6th sense. They call it a 6th sense, extrasensory perception. Some people call it in psychology extrasensory perception. There are reflexes. This is not just the physical 5 senses. So many features Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has added that the information which you take through all these ports, take them to the fuad, you process them. You shuffle that information up and down in your qalb, and then in presentable charts, in presentable form, the information is placed before your sadr, which is the intelligence center, the wisdom center, which takes decision. When one takes khamr, if you don't look at the religious explanations, just open the book of when you take license, a driving license, even in Texas, open this. Why they do say that don't drive while drinking? They have given the reason there in the driving license book. Because you should not drink while driving, because this khamr affects that center of the brain, that sadr, upper part of the brain, which makes judgment and takes decision. And that judgment has to be made on the basis of the information which is given to you in a billionth of a fraction of a second while driving, from the reflexes, if not from the eyes, if not from the ears, just from the reflexes. We close the reflexes of Muslim ladies. We put them in a niqab and in a hijab in such a way that their ears are closed. Reflexes work 360 degrees. If somebody is drunk, it is under intoxication, then he cannot make judgment in such a quickest in the possible manner. And then not only that, the one makes a judgment that yes, this truck is coming and it will hit me, but he has to decide, he has to take a decision, he has to save himself. And all that has to take place in fraction of a second, small fraction of a second. So all these things have been, for all these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the features. It's not just the revelation that the center, for example, the driving license, when you get this, they just sent you the book and they said you take the training, but they did not give you the brain. They did not give you the faculty of reasoning. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said, walk on the straight path, He gave all these faculties, all these features. He equipped the man for Sawaytuhu. He said, when I straighten him, I perfect Adam, I'll place him before you, present him before you. All these things have been given. That is why not only the revelation has been given, but the features for physical implementation, correct implementation, beneficial implementation for falah, for khair, have also been given. And they have further been trained and strengthened through the models of the prophets. Now, this has been augmented with practice and tradition of the prophets. And furthermore, rigorous training of the devoted followers. Even if you don't use the word rigorous, it's better to say regular training, regular refresher course, 5 times a day, once a year song, once in life Hajj, depending upon the financial capacity, zakat, ushr, spending, general, infaq. These are modules of training which have to be repeated. Refresher courses have to be repeated. When I joined the career, at every step there was for every promotion, at every ladder of promotion, there was a training, there was a course, there was an examination. One has to go through that. If you don't pass, you don't cross to the next ladder. Here, very simple, regular, just as a reminder, zikr, reminder, they have been given as a well-made and well-kept system. But the problem is that Surah Fatiha demands a well-made and well-kept system. We are not keeping it as a system. And I have been repeating just one example, Sabah Masani, oft repeated 7 verses of ayats of Al-Fatiha. Why these are being repeated in every rakah? 5 times salah, okay. Once you come to the masjid, yeah, you just read it once. No. But in every salah, but not only in every salah, but in every rakah. This sometime we may look at, we may tumble upon, if we don't do it deliberately, some word and we open Quran. Why Yawmuddin? What does that mean? What is the moral basis? Why responsibility? Why accountability? Why judgment on the last day? Why not before that? All these things, it opens up philosophies. But we don't want to think. All affairs are being directed. Yudabirul Amr. These are being implemented. These are being monitored all the time. Kulla yawman, every day. Fi yawman, in real time. Fi yawm, real time. Allah rules all affairs from the heavens to the earth. Then they all go back up to Him in one day. And here, in fact, fi yawm, the translation would be in real time. The distance of billions of light years. Allah is not located in one place or one point on the seventh heaven. He's everywhere. He's Kareeb. He's monitoring. When He says He is looking, He's seeing Ihsan. He is doing it from Kareeb. In real time. In real time. They go to Him. And the measure, if we want to measure it, it may be thousands of years, but it reaches Him the same moment. Same moment. There are different meanings of the term yom in real time. And there are other ayat also which give us some explanation or some pointation to the process of monitoring, how the monitoring is taking place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not just says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I have not just made the universe and let it alone. I'm monitoring it. I'm intervening in it. I'm governing it. Wherever required, I intervene. I intervene in time. I intervene in time and I intervene on time. And these are physical, real, and scientific arrangements in the universe for management of all affairs and matters. For example, defense system, anti-missile defense system, Surah Mulk. If anybody, anything goes regime, leaves the orbit, it is regime, then immediately the defense system, the anti-missile system, it comes into action. They run after that shaitan. They catch it. They destroy it. And then the process of taqdees takes place immediately. That path, that way, even if it's a galaxy, it is a star, it's an-najm hawa, whatever it is, the entire path is cleared, taken into the black hole, deposited there. It's not that the debris is left there. It is hit, it is broken, and the debris is there. Today, the human beings, they have, Elon Musk, they have created separate organizations, companies, separately working for cleaning the debris in the space. While these rockets are moving, other things are moving, accidents are taking place, but there are companies they've employed, they have appointed, they pay them, they clear those pathways through which these rockets pass, so that next time they don't hurt. You must be remembering a couple of years back, the rocket coming back from the moon. It was from the space. It was hit by a very small piece of debris. It ruptured its tile. In that, I don't remember the name of that mission, but there was one Indian lady also on that mission. So it's not that it's only destroyed, but it is disposed of also. It's a system. And one Najm Hawa, it explains the whole thing. How it comes Dala, how it is Dana, how it is taken into Dala, the process of Dana starts, and how it goes into Jannat al-Mawa, the unseen black hole, which from where the light does not come back. Sidratul Muntaha, light does not come back from there. That is a black hole. And then all those things are stacked there properly for the next phase. Anti-missile defense systems which fire automatically. There are certain auto response mechanisms in the universe for the preservation of the balance. We had started that this surah points towards balance. Why responsibility? Why accountability? It is to come just to maintain balance, and balance can be maintained only through adl. We have discussed that. Some people translate it as justice, but it can be maintained only through adl. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained social laws through physical sciences also. This balance in the social sense can take place only through the institution of justice. And justice is not a vague thing. It is a legal system. It is a justice system. Through a system of justice. We will see. Okay, I should not, I think, be in a hurry to say these things in advance. When we reach there, I will speak about this, that why, how this surah points out to that. Why retribution? Why retribution is required in keeping a balance, in keeping the system of justice. Law of retribution in the realm of social sciences. Without retribution, balance cannot be maintained. And without balance, the legal system, the judicial system cannot be maintained. And without this, the society cannot be maintained. And the society cannot be maintained, it ultimately disbalances, a disequilibrium is created in the ecosystem also. What is happening in Lahore? Pollution. You can't see. It has crossed all limits, prescribed limits in the world. Lahore is the top most polluted city today in the world. Today in the world, above all averages and all limits crossing. And some of its consequences appear in the phenomena of cause and effect. For example, we are talking about the pollution. Some of them will appear here. It will become azab here. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you deviate from Surat Al-Mustaqim, then the cause and effect will come into play. If somebody becomes regime, then its anti-missile system has to come into place. Cause and effect. There will be azab for you here. And in many cases, Quran says that not only this, but part of the azab you will face in the hereafter also. Why Muslims are in this situation today? Because they don't understand Quran, that it expands beyond my body, beyond my family, beyond my society. It covers the entire ecological system, but we are not ready to listen to that. We close our ears. Just we want to listen for sabab. That's enough. This is not Islam. This is not Quran. Surah Fatiha does not stop there. Many times repeating, every time inviting to go into Quran, open some door with some in word, with some key, enter the Quran, enter Quran. But there are many aspects of accounting that need to be settled at the end of the accounting period. For example, the actions which Hitler and Netanyahu and others have done, their consequences don't end here. They go for generations. They are not only for generations, they go into history. Then the human being will have to wait till all its impact is collected and comes on the last day of judgment. Then we'll have to wait for the last day of judgment also. Appointed, for which a fixed term has been appointed. And that final day of reckoning is called the Yawmuddin. When this entire accounting for this responsibility will take place. Why you unnecessarily plucked the flower when you didn't need it? Why unnecessarily you killed the bird, killed the animal when you are not hungry? We have named it as a game because the Western society has named the killing of these birds and animals as game. Then we have translated it, and even in the translation of Quran, we have used the word game. That you can kill the game, you can do this game, but Quran says when you are hungry. It's not that you just for fun you take a gun and go to kill a bird. You are not hungry. If we examine in depth working of system of universe and life, it will be realized that the force of justice maintains the balance and the beauty. Zayyana sama dunya. This balance has a beauty. It has a purpose. And it is the justice. In English, we are using the word justice, but Quran uses the word adl. For example, moon and sun. They are balancing each other, balancing in every movement, at every point, at every angle. They are balancing each other. Adl. Adl is that in appropriate place, one gets his due. They are balancing each other. That is why they are surviving. That's why the solar system is surviving. In life, in family, in our personal life, if we don't maintain justice, don't maintain balance, then it will be destroyed. There will be no beauty in life, no harmony, no peace, no salamati. For justice to take place, a process, a proper process leading to the point of judgment. We just say that we need justice, we need balance, we need beauty, we need this. But for that, we need a proper process leading to the point of judgment. Judgment. Fatwa is not a judgment. I'll go further and show you. Judgment is related to the sovereignty. We are giving fatwa. Fatwa is not the justice. It is not the judgment. Fatwa is not judgment. Process leading to the point of judgment is essentially required. If the judgment does not take place, there are fatawa, talatum of fatawa. There's no justice. Justice can take place. The starting point, look at this, I'm using the point, it's not the last thing. It's the starting point is the judgment. And we don't have a judgment. We separated. Only fatwa. It's not implementable. Fatwa is not implementable. Even in Muslim countries, courts don't recognize fatwa. You take a fatwa to the court, they will not recognize it. We didn't recognize the Sharia court. We recognize Quran and Sunnah. The judgment, of course, taken by the judge in the court, printed, reported judgment, cleared by the Supreme Court. When judgment is established, that judgment will become a guiding rule for the future also, but not a fatwa, because that judgment goes through a process. For printing, when the judgment is reported, there are committees of attorneys, private NGOs, private companies. They select from those judgments. For example, they selected my judgment on evidence of one woman, judgment against 4 marriages, for example. And then they sort it out. When their committees approve it, they are challenged. They go to the Supreme Court. When these are upheld, then they become the part of the judicial system. Judgment. Here, fatwa, everybody has a small piece of paper. He writes it and he sticks to it, and he establishes a school of thought on that fatwa. It's not a judgment. It requires criterion for segregating right and wrong. Criterion. Has the criterion been applied? When these are challenged in the higher court, and then they are further challenged in the higher court, and when they are challenged in the highest court, all these things are seen. A balance to weigh one against the other. What is balance? Every shahada, everything has to be weighed against each other. It is in these, I will explain inshallah next time in further this will again, but I'm just in a hurry, just pointing out these points. It is in the sphere of human activity that questions of right and wrong emerge because of the degree of freedom of choice and options available. It is because of the freedom of choice and also because of the options which are available. When you open the internet, it gives you a lot of options. Shaitan is there. He gives you a lot of options. It is because of that the accountability will take place. And because of these options, because of these freedoms, then there are different behaviors. Variety of behavioral patterns take place. And when there are different actions, different consequences take place. That is why it was important, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a code of life. I'm just running through, taking you that it will ultimately bring us to the sovereignty. But anyway, I stop here. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifuna wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا ربنا تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم أوزعنا أن نشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علينا وعلى والدينا وأن نعمل صالحا ترضاه. اللهم اصلح لنا في ذريتنا إنا تبنا إليك وإننا من المسلمين. O Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. O Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. O Allah, make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and many others. Oh Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself in this blessed hour, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih. عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.